Hey everybody, it's me, Allison, the founder and CEO of Teaspressa, and I just wanted to say happy AAPI month. So Teaspressa was founded almost 10 years ago. It will actually be 10 years in January, and it all kind of happened based off of, not by accident, but just like the perfect storm of all these life events that make me, that all made Teaspressa too. And so growing up, my dad was in the Air Force and we traveled around a lot. My mom is Korean. And one of the things that me and my dad used to do was go around different cafes all around the world and try different coffees, drinks, and whatever. And I really loved the cafe culture of just meeting new people, the hustle and bustle of it, and just like sitting down and just a good cup with, a friend, a family member, whoever. And so I've always had that interest. It was my first job when I turned 16 to be a barista, and I just had this like fascination of making latte art on top of coffee. I don't know what it is, but I would do like different animals that customers would request, logos, like sceneries, Popeye, you name it. The funny and kind of weird thing about that was that as much as I loved coffee, I couldn't really have it and tolerate it as much. I would get stomach aches. It would make my brain feel foggy and stuff. And even though I worked in coffee or, went to cafes all the time, I probably only could have like a cup a week, maybe a cup every other day at the most. Yeah, that was something else. And my mom is Korean, and tea is really important in our family. Like we drink it with my grandma when we were sick every day. And I just thought, like, why can't tea be as cool as coffee? Like, why can't I make cool latte art on top of tea like I can with coffee? And so that's how Teaspressa started, and not only that, but also my fascination in small business as well. As a young professional, I just remember working for a small business was just so impactful because it was so cool to see the things that you do at your work, especially being like entry level at the time, come to fruition, and you can see your consumers or customers enjoy the work that you put out live, which is really cool. And so I really loved it. I really like a good challenge, and I thought, what way then to better challenge myself than to start a business. And so that's how it all came together. I made like a pro-con list of my interests and things I'm good at and things that I was like so at, and things that make me passionate in life, and it all led to this coffee and tea industry. I've always wanted to make a positive impact in the industry and in the world in general. So I wanted to introduce something new. And so that's why I thought, I think there's a need here. Not only for myself, but there has to be other people out there too who also, love the coffee ritual, love the coffee culture, the cafe culture, and wishes that tea was as exciting and flexible in preparation as coffee was. And so that's how Teaspressa came to be. One night in the middle of the night, I woke up at, I think 3 or 4 a.m. and I came up with the name. I was like, Eureka, it's Teaspressa. And the name has the T and it has the SO part for espresso, but I actually changed the O to the A because it is feminine, because I am female. And so, fun fact, that's why Teaspressa ends with an A, to make it more of a feminine word, because the founder is a female, and that's how I came up with the name, and that's how Teaspressa was born. There are so many different reasons why Teaspressa is so different from other coffee and tea concepts out there. I mean, first of all, we have the patent, of course, and so that is our trademark and method of how to make tea like espresso. But I think, Teaspressa, even like just focusing on the Teaspressa shot, that is the best of both worlds of coffee and tea, right? You have the super concentrated, bold flavor like you do with coffee, and then you have the health benefits of tea. It doesn't really get better than that. Also, with tea, caffeine, it just hits differently. With coffee, it's like right? You got like that crash that goes on after. But with tea, it's a smooth ride. But be careful, don't drink it after 5 p.m. because I've done that before and my body's so tired, but my mind is awake. I think, what we have is really the best of both worlds. And what also makes us a little different as a brand overall is that we really focus on the experience, just the little details, like I am a huge experience person. It makes my day when I start my day with my favorite mug and my favorite spoon and my Lux drink cube with my tea, and when I stir the cube in the tea and see the rose petals float to the top, and then I smell the aroma, and the steam hits my face, and it's just like I'm getting a rose facial, and the taste is amazing and it's invigorating. And so I mean, there's something magical in those things, and we think through all the details so that you don't have to. And those little moments of connection that you have with your friends and family are the moments in the connection, are the moments that you remember forever in your life, and what makes memories and what makes happiness. And so that's what makes Teaspressa so different from anything else out there. It is amazing to see how much Teaspressa has changed over the years. I mean, when I first started, the vision was always, I am going to make a global brand where Teaspressa is going to be like Kleenex. That, for example, is a definition of a facial tissue. Teaspressa is a definition of a concentrated tea shot. That was the vision. We're going to take over the world. And then, I started the business on a laundry cart selling tea on the streets, and I had customers that would say like, hey, how can I make these drinks at home? They were really great concoctions. And I'm like, great question. Didn't want to make flavored syrup, so I thought, why not put the mixer in the cube itself? And that's how we came up with the Luxe drink mixer cubes. And then one day I dropped the rose cube into a glass of champagne because I thought, why not? And boom, that's how the idea started. And so I was like, I think I'm on to something here. And I remember the first cocktail cube I made was the old fashioned, because I'm a huge fan of old fashions myself, and then the rest was honestly history. And so over the years, I feel like I have been adapting our business based off of customer needs and wants. And it's fast forward to now, we started with the patent on making tea like espresso, moved on to the drink mixer cubes. Next thing you know, we're doing accessories, drink experiences, toppings, and I think we're only going to further lean more into the beverage category and offer everything and all beverage items. And I just love how Teaspressa has grown, and I'm really, really leaning into this new era. My heritage plays a huge role in Teaspressa, being that I just remember growing up how important tea was, how there was a different occasion and different teas for different occasions, and every time I see that tea, it just reminds me of that great memory. A lot of those things, like those little rituals, those little isms that just make those moments special, lives in Teaspressa. The best advice I have for anybody that wants to start a small business is to do what brings you joy. Listen to the customer. And so personally, when I first started, I made like a pro-con list of like things that I was good at, things that I was not really good at, interests that I have, interests that I don't have. And from there, I was kind of able to pinpoint what businesses I wanted to start. That would be my first thing, is just to do something that you're super passionate about. It doesn't have to be something that you're super knowledgeable about, though. Huge difference, right? And that's something too, when I first started, I felt like, well, maybe, I'm not the expert in my field. I don't know what I'm doing. And, who am I to think that I could do all this in this industry and make such a difference? And so don't let that creep in. If anything, just like do what you're passionate about, move forward, and be aware of what's out there, right? But also kind of like run your own race, right? Because that's how movers and shakers are born. That's how new things get out there, right? If you're kind of like comparing yourself to your competitors or looking at other places for inspiration too closely, then you could prohibit yourself from creating a new idea. And so don't let that intimidate you. If you're not the expert, just find something that you're super passionate about. And as far as the best place to go for resources, I would say no matter how big or small or how long you've been doing your business, always ask for help. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable about where you are and where you want to be. Some great resources I would recommend: SBA, I'm a huge fan of that. There's local chapters in every state where you can go in and personally talk to a rep of how to start your business, from the legal aspect, getting trademarks, and starting websites, and like how to do marketing, accounting, and all this other stuff. So that'd be the best place to start doing that. And then also making sure that you have other peers to talk to that also have businesses. I can't tell you enough, asking for help and having that camaraderie just makes all the difference, because sometimes it can feel very isolating as a business owner. Once you kind of have that circle friends and trust that are, also peers in the industry, it helps out a lot too. It makes such a huge difference. Ooh, this is such a good question. I would say one of the most pivotal events that has ever happened that has changed the brand is COVID. I mean, before COVID, I had 4 stores, 3 in Arizona, 1 out of state in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And, after COVID, I made the really tough decision to close the stores and to focus on online and selling directly to businesses, and it's been amazing. And fast forward to today, we're really starting to lean into more of those beverage offerings and really expanding the brand. And at the time, obviously, it was awful to go through, but despite the fact of COVID or whatever it is, there's always going to be a time of adversity, in life or in business, for example, and it's just a matter of when, right? But the thing in business is just like how you come out of that form of adversity. Like, what was the lesson, So every time I go through something where it's like absolutely sucks, setting me back, instead of kind of like dwelling on that, I think of, okay, what is the takeaway here? What good can I take away from this really, really bad experience? What can I control? And for example, COVID, right? That was like totally outside of my control. I felt like I was robbed. I felt like, I followed all the right steps and did all the right things. And despite of the fact, like, how could I predict the world shutting down? Like, how this is so unfair. These are all the thoughts I had in my head. It was so hard to go through, so hard, where I was just like, all I could do was just, I remember vividly waking up every day, going to the store and just sitting there in silence and not doing anything, because I was just so numb. I was so overwhelmed with like sadness, fear, all these things. All I had were my fellow business owner friends to talk to. And I was, one day I was just like, what? Like, yes, this feels unfair. Yes, this was outside my control, but what can I control? What can I do today to make it better tomorrow? That's what I did. I took one step at a time, focused on the things that I could and did have control over, and made moves accordingly. And fast forward, I think that was honestly the first year where we broke over $1 million, and it was like a huge deal. And so I would just say pivotal parts and points of adversity in business are, they suck going through. Just embrace the suck and say to yourself, what good can I learn from this so I am better next time, and so this doesn't happen again. My goodness, I love all the hats. There's so many hats in small business. I honestly love numbers. Fun fact, I used to want to major in math because I loved math so much. I really like numbers. And I also really like the product development part. I think I'm really, really passionate about creating new ideas and trying to flex the mind on how we can make something that we know different and better. So I would say my favorite are numbers and product development. Let me tell you, we got a lot of great stuff cooking in the stove, on the skillet. It's hot, it's sizzling. Just to kind of give a preview, we are really diving into beverages as a whole. So stay tuned to see what we do. It's going to be great. And not only that, but we're also diving more into the everyday application. So right now we have a lot of beautiful, great gifts, but it's like, how can I enjoy Teaspressa every single day? Very easily. So stay tuned. Listen up. The drink of the summer is Arnold Palmer's. Since it's Teaspressa and we take what we know and give it a little twist and make it better, what I like to call the Arnold Palmer is called the Arlette Palmer. Arlette, she's cute. It's a lemonade, a Manhattan black tea shot, and a rose cube. It's so good. And if you like Earl Grey tea, do the lemonade, Earl Grey tea, orange cube. Boom. It's so good. And green tea, okay? Green tea with lemonade, rose cube. I just love rose. That's why I keep on going back to rose. And the Cape Town tea, lemonade, Cape Town, grapefruit. Try it. It's really good. I mean, every summer, it's the summer of Arlettes, just the black tea, lemonade, and rose. It's so good.